What's going on, y'all? We back here with another episode of Out the Mud, and today we got another special guest. We sitting right here with Ray Don't Play. How you doing, man?
What's up, man? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing wonderful, man. Ready to go into the new year, man. You know, it's actually not the new year, but I ain't gonna give y'all a lesson on that. But you know, we working off the Roman calendar.
Yes,
but
sir.
I'm happy to go into the next cycle of, around the sun.
Yes, sir. So how you feeling today, man? Matter of fact, not even just today, in the last few months, how everything been going for you? Where you at mentally?
Mentally today, I'm at a 7. These last couple months, man, has been fantastic. Some opportunities that came my way. I met some wonderful people who has definitely shown me how to craft my purpose. They have definitely motivated and put gas into my purpose so it can go far and I can, pour into more people.
Okay, so before we get too deep and really get into everything, let the people know what it is you do.
So what I do is, in the District of Columbia, I'm a credible messenger. So I am a mentor for youth who are committed to the Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services. So that's someone who's committed a crime, a juvenile who's committed a crime, and now he's at a YSC or New Beginnings, and he's committed, or group home. And I also do community support worker in the District of Columbia, which I work for an organization called Umbrella Therapeutic Services. And I like to work with returning citizens to where I just learn them and learn to help them with coping skills and adjusting back to society and even building that connection back with their families.
Okay, good. Okay, so before we get into the details of that, right, we're going to get back into the beginning of your story, right, what led to this thing, right? So, led to these things, right? You've been a mentor, having mentors, helping people get into business. Like, we didn't talk about it, but you got a partner and y'all work together to help people get their CDLs, right?
Correct.
It's just, you got a lot going on. We're going to dive into it, but we're going to start from the beginning. So let the people know where it is you from, because you work in D.C., but you're actually from Maryland.
Yeah, I'm from a neighborhood called Tooley Street, Maryland. The 3400 block of Parkway Terrace, right directly across the street from Suitland Subway Station. That's where my stomping grounds was. That's who kind of pulled a lot into me and made me who I am today. Yes,
sir. Okay, so from what I know thus far, you came up single parent household?
Correct.
Did you have a stepfather?
My mother had some boyfriends.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, I think you were speaking on a stepmother, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
You had a stepmother.
Yes.
That was kind of like I would say, like your angel, if that's a good way to put it.
Most definitely. That's a perfect word to use. She was my angel. She was my guide. Once my mother passed away at 16 years old from breast cancer. First, when I was 10 years old, she had lung cancer. And then she beat that. Then it spread to breast cancer. And ultimately, she had it twice. She had her breast augmentated, and then it came back. And then once my mother passed, that was 2000. In 2000, my mother passed, and Stephanie Harvey, which is not here, which is my brother's mother, stepped up to the plate and loved on me, nurtured me, and also did her motherly thing, what she could. Her and my mother had a conversation, and she kept her promise. And I love her to death, and I thank her for, God putting her in my life.
Nah, shout out to them and condolences to both of them. And that's powerful because and that's another thing too. You was incarcerated when your mother passed away.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Oh, so before we even get into that, right? Because I know I can't even say I know, but I can assume like that's traumatizing.
Yeah.
Because one thing I always hear is when somebody locked up, people that you love being hurt or you losing them while you locked up, that can do something to you. And then being so young, still technically an adolescent, like I know that's traumatizing, right? Even if you're not locked up, but that takes it to another level.
Takes it way.
So, okay, let's get to what led to that, right? We're not gonna get too much into everything. We ain't gotta get into specifics, but you was in the streets, right?
Correct.
And at a young age, you got into some troubles in schools. You was, you had a lot of anger and rage built into you, right? Yeah. So where would you say that came from?
I would say definitely my father not being as absent as I think he should be. He was in my life,
right?
But I just think that he was growing as well. I think that my environment and what I thought maybe those things I thought were cool.
Right.
And I know that what energized that anger was losing my mother and being locked up in Cheltenham as a juvenile.
Right. Okay, so your father basically just been inconsistent in your life.
Correct.
And so and so I can relate to that, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the difference though, my father was actually in the household with me, but my mother and my father was so young when they had us. I'm the third child, and my mother was 19 turning 20 when she had me. So that's very young with 3 kids.
Yeah.
And my father was about 24. And so, now looking back in hindsight, my grandfather wasn't the best example for him, so he didn't really know how to be a father. But as a kid, you're not thinking about none of that.
No.
You just see how he going about doing things with you, and you just take it how it make you feel. And so part of my reckless behavior at a young age was just doing anything to get attention. You know what I'm saying? And that's I can resonate with that, right? And to anybody that might be, coming up or, in and out of trouble, you might not know that's what it is, but a lot of times you're doing things out of spite because you just want some form of attention.
Correct.
You want to feel like you've been seen and heard, so you're willing to do anything, whether it's being in the streets or lashing out in school. You're going to do what you got to do to get some attention.
Correct.
So I resonate with that. Okay, so what was the point before even being, what was the first time you ever been incarcerated?
So the first time I was ever incarcerated, it was 2000.
Okay.
I had a gun charge as a juvenile. I spent about 10 months. I spent 10 months up Upper Marlboro.
Okay.
Juvenile, what's that, 11B.
Okay.
And then they dropped it down to juvenile, and I went up Cheltenham, and that's when I found out my mother had passed when I was...
Right. So that first bid was when...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we not gonna get too much into the jail stories, but all in all, how much time would you say you did?
A total of 14 years
14 years.
of my lifetime.
Okay, and it was just different bids on and off.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did jail teach you, if anything?
Each time it taught me something different. So just a brief moment, it taught me the first time, it opened my eyes up to a bigger world.
Right.
I learned about different religions.
Right.
I learned about, and I was in the States. I wasn't in the Feds, you guys.
Got you.
And I was in the States. I was at Eastern Correctional Institution. And it told me a lot about Baltimore dudes, Eastern Shore dudes. Like Maryland is so big.
Right.
And
Right.
it taught me a lot about religion and things of that nature, and really showed me how to really take care of myself with limited resources. And when I mean limited resources, limited finances. Because when you work in the kitchen or you have a job, you only make $30 a month. If you're not getting no
Commissary.
no money from the outside.
Got you. Okay. Okay, so, that's deep. Okay, so one thing I always hear though, right, is some of the most talented, gifted, intelligent people you're going to meet is in the system, right? Would you agree to that?
Most definitely.
Okay, so would you say, what do you think, okay, why do you think that is? Do you think it's because, okay, they're almost forced to have to, tap into the books? Because I'm sure some people in there that's not doing that, but why do you think that is?
From my perspective now, I don't think that we don't nurture the gift that our youth have.
Right.
And I think that we just, if some of it just come natural. So when you just don't, all my tattoos came from prison. Came from a motorized CD player and some guitar string and some burnt down checker pieces. And a guy from Baltimore, from East Baltimore, did all these tattoos and talent. But what if somebody would have pulled and put him in painting or drawing or something? He may not have laid down that. But our environment plays a big role in what path we're going to take and your identity, knowing who you are.
Right. I'm glad. Okay, that's a great answer, because that's why I wanted to ask you that. So to any youngins out there that might be talented or gifted and might not have tapped into it or might not got the support from the family and the friends or the people they would like it from. Because some people want it from their mother or their father or they homeboys or, the closest people to them, they want to feel like they support them. And a lot of times, like you said, if they don't have that, they're going to go do things trying to get any type of attention instead of just, let me just, have a relationship with God, tap into myself and just, do what I got to do. What do you think, if you have any advice for anybody that's going through that right now, like just to stay focused, stay locked in, because it ain't worth it going down that path and then having to figure out things the hard way?
Being yourself will take you further. And I was talking to my homeboy today, just to give you a little story. I was talking to my homeboy today, and he did 10 years, and his son is different. And he was like, man, today my son's birthday, all he wanted was a gaming laptop. But since we've been from prison, we both was locked up together. He
Right.
said his son liked to play the game. I said, you need to nurture that.
Yeah.
Because that's computer design. That's so much. So he just different.
Yeah.
Don't make him that. And he live uptown. They
Yep.
live in the hood. That
Yep.
don't mean that he got to be gangster
Yep.
or that he can't defend himself because he make games.
Yep.
And I think that you gotta be yourself.
Yep.
And if being in yourself get laughed at, the people who laughing at you and doing that, them the people that's gonna be asking for lawyer money. Them the people that's gonna be like, man, when I was doing this,
Yep.
you gonna get down there and be like, man, my man was different. He might have been weird.
Yep.
It's okay.
Yep.
But I guarantee it will pay off.
And it's two things you mentioned that I want to piggyback off. So one is the foundation, like you said, him playing games, and if like the parents instilling in him like, it's okay. Like you can still be able to defend yourself and tap into what you're doing. If he like gaming, like you said, it can correlate to something to where he can take that and run with it and become successful using that gift, talent, skill, or whatever his attention goes to, something he's passionate about, right? And it was another thing you said. Damn, I lose my train of thought so fast. But the main thing is just the foundation, right? I feel like as a youth, a lot of times that is the issue because the environment you feel like, that's what it was, being yourself. So for me, right, I'm 30, like I said, and as kids, you do have the tendency, if somebody's into something that you might not understand, you'll judge it, right? And if that person is weak, they're going to fall into it and maybe get away from it because they don't want to feel like they're being judged. Cool. And like just staying strong and staying resilient or vigilant, if that's the word, through it all and knowing like, you know what? I like what I like, regardless if you don't, and stay away from them people, right? If somebody laughing at you, clowning you for something you passionate about, those ain't your friends.
No, for sure.
Don't try to impress them, right?
For sure.
But for sure, that's facts. So for anybody out there that's into whether it's computers, you into games, you like sports, you might like drawing, painting, like you said, tattoos, right? Yeah. Ain't no telling what
even soccer, baseball.
Soccer, baseball.
It don't gotta be football,
right?
Baseball. It
Anything.
be lacrosse.
Yep. Anything you want to do. If it's swimming, if it's tennis, whatever you love to do, if you're passionate about it, that's you, man, the real you. And you just got to love you and just, be unapologetic about it and understand that people that clown you will make fun of things you do. Like, for example, you did your stint in prison, right? Yeah. And before you was out, correct me if I'm wrong, but you was the crash out, right?
Yeah.
You was the crash out. And then at some point you said, nah, something got to give. Yeah. If you was insecure about making that transition, you want to tap in getting a mentor or being a mentor or knowing I got to be the example that I didn't have, right? You could have easily let that consume you and stayed on what you was on. Correct. Like a lot of dudes do when they come home. Correct. Right? So I commend you for that. I commend you for that. So let's get into the bread and butter, right? Let's talk about this business, right? Yeah. Because one thing you big on is being a mentor, having mentors, because we all should have somebody that we can come up under and learn from, right? But it got to be the right example, not just anybody. Correct. And so for you speak proudly about having two mentors in different fields that you learn a lot from. And you said one guy, 20 years in it?
Yeah. And Lewis King.
Lewis King. Shout out to Lewis King.
Shout out to Lewis King. That's my mental health mentor, man. I love him to death, man. He has definitely hand walked me to a lot of things that my parents didn't. Some of my close friends are still my close friends didn't. And I'm just trying to spread that information, whether it be life insurance, how you set up your LLC, how you do your taxes, what to do, and just stuff as being financial freedom. And that's really important. And Snow, which is Nathan Shock, the CEO of the Quarter Tip Club, he does that as well.
Shout out to Snow.
Big shout out to Snow.
So that's another thing too, right? So just to piggyback, give them a little some clarity. You and Snow met in prison, correct?
So me and Snow did 2 bits together. He knew my family because they lived in his neighborhood, which is Walker Mill. Yep. And we met just on that, and then ever since we met, man, and we clicked. Saying we both went back to prison, which we said we wasn't. Then we thought we changed, but we didn't. And then I went back again, and then he out and he changed. And the whole time I was in, he was just giving me the game on getting the CDL, which was when I was on a run. Somebody planted that seed. My youngest daughter mother planted that seed in my head and was like, well, look, if you get out the streets, I pay for your CDL. But at the time I'm on a run and I was on parole violation. So I had to handle that and then do the time. Right. And then once I came home, I got the CDL within a year. My full CDL within a year home.
And how long have you been home since your last bid?
I've been home 6.5 years.
Shout out to that. Yeah. Congratulations on that, man. I know that means a lot when you've been in and out. You used to go in and out to stay out. I know that's something. So you a father,
Correct.
How
And a
many
grandfather.
Grandfather, shout out. Oh, so you got grown kids.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many kids do you have in total?
I have 4 kids. I have 2 kids that are 23. They're 3 months apart.
Okay.
And I have a son that's 14, and I have a daughter that's about to be 13 as of next month.
Shout out, man. So you were in your 20s when you had your first 2 kids. Because you said
No, I was 18.
You was 18.
18 years old.
With 2 kids, 3 months apart.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can resonate when I said my mother was not. Okay, you understand. Oh, yeah, so you know.
And then I went to prison at 20. So
Okay.
I know.
That's what I wanted to get into. So having kids on the outside while you're incarcerated, right? What did that do to you?
At the moment, I just missed them. I think like any brother that go to jail, any parent that go to jail, you just miss them.
Right.
But as I went to prison for my 3rd time, they're older. They was in middle school,
Right.
about to high school. So I made it right before they
Gotcha.
they graduated.
Yep.
But the turmoil that my decisions made on them, I'm still paying for that. I'm still paying for that. We don't have the ideal relationship that my kids should have, or
Right.
even their mothers.
Right.
But I got to take accountability for that. But I also do everything in my power to explain to them that I was a kid myself. Nobody, when you become a parent, you don't take a class.
Right.
You just have 2 genitals and they put together and
Yep.
you have a baby and
Yep.
you figure the rest out.
Right.
So I'm not too hard on my parents. I'm not too hard on a parent.
Right.
I just tell them to try to give yourself more education. And what would your daughter or son, what would you want them to do?
Right.
And also just understand that you were once you was once 20.
Right.
Don't be too sanctimonious.
Right.
Don't be too sanctimonious.
Yeah,
Please don't.
Right. Now that's law. And the main thing is too is have grace on yourself.
Most definitely.
Because like you said, you hold yourself accountable, which most parents don't.
Yeah.
Like you got some people that they're the reason for the turmoil in their child's relationship, and they feel like because these are their kids should just want to love them. But it's like it take time, right? And that's the one thing too. Like if you're incarcerated or you're away, like you said, your father was inconsistent. So because that lack of time spent together, it caused you to do certain things. Correct. So that's the main thing is the time, but also being accountable. Because and the reason I want to bring this up is because if you listening, like these are gems. Like one, have patience, understand. Like we was once kids ourselves, and we know what we didn't like as kids, right? Now whether we our relationship or our journey was the same. Like you said, your father just chose to be inconsistent, right? He wasn't in prison. So that's different versus you being locked up with you was gone behind decisions you made versus voluntarily just not being there.
Correct.
You get what I'm saying? And so that just take time for them to understand as they get older, right?
And the message, because I have a thought process that I always tell my kids. I say, we always say real nigga and gangster. That's the price you pay to be a real nigga and a gangster. We listen to these songs, but we don't, what we hear, we like, when we listen to that, we ain't differentiating like, nah, that's my father, but he a gangster. No, be mad at your father for being a gangster, because being a gangster gonna get your father not being here.
Right.
So I always tell them that don't listen to the music, don't understand what that lifestyle brings.
Right. And so, okay, so let's piggyback into your childhood a little bit, right? Because you did have a single mother household, right? Or single parent with just your mother, right? But you was able to be blessed to have a stepmother who assisted as well, right? So that's it's like a double-edged sword, if that's the right way to put it, but you had it, right? Yeah. And even with your mother passing away at 16, you're still a child, right? And you're locked up. So you got to come home to a whole different, you know what I'm saying? And that's where the blessing of having your stepmother comes in, because ain't no telling what it could have been if you didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? So just growing up in Thule Street, right? I know you said you jumped off the porch at 12. You was doing what you was doing, got in trouble young. And to do what you're doing now, what's your message to the youth, right? Because being a mentor, I'm sure you deal with kids who you come across and they just all the way in. You see yourself, I'm sure, in them, right? Yeah, so how do you go from, or how do you approach them situations when you meet a child initially and you see they just gone? They deep in there, they far gone.
One thing I tell them is, man, you hurting your mother. Because we all know is, don't nobody want their mother hurt. Don't nobody want they talking about their mother.
Right.
But we don't even really look at, my mother got to walk through a metal detector. You know, my mothers, they got to deal with me. They got to deal with a care coordinator. They got to deal with so many people that's call them and tell them about their son, and you know, they haven't seen their son, and what they have to do, they got to come through their home. They got to make an assessment just for their son to come back. And you know, a lot of people are not receptive to the government.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I be trying to tell them, like, that's a lot of stress on your mother.
Right.
And then on your siblings.
Right.
So you got to take that into account. If you love your mother, think about what you taking her through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Think about what you taking her through.
Right. Right. Now that's facts. That's facts. That's facts. Okay, so let's get into some mental health, right? Okay. Because for me personally, I had some, I wouldn't say mentors, but I had older individuals. Like, my way of learning was just seeing, right? And I just knew, okay, don't pick up on that. Don't pick up on that. But I also had people pouring to me. But you know, when you're young, you hear, but you don't listen, right? So for me, it was just more so, okay, getting tired of, right? You repeatedly keep, you know what I'm saying? You got to chill. Right. So for you, when was that moment specifically where you knew, okay, this got to give? Was it just saying, okay, it's an opportunity to make some money? Was it you tired of getting in trouble? Was it you meeting snow? Was it y'all building? Because that's also turning a negative into a positive. Me and somebody in a situation like that and saying, you know what, we better than this. We can do more with this, right? So what was that moment for you? Because this could help somebody that might be going through something, that might be, you know, go through something similar, just don't know how to go about making a change.
Right. Well, it was all those things. It was all those things in one. Meeting snow, you know, dealing with dudes that was coming to Maryland CDL, me being the face of Maryland CDL, and Snow, you know, assigning me that position to, you know, be an instructor at CDL, which I appreciate now and I hold dearly to my heart, because I changed somebody's life.
Right.
It wasn't about the money. I changed somebody's life.
Right.
I provided them a way to provide for their family, and I think that's the most important currency I received from that. But also, a lot of brothers used to pull me to the side, and you know, they'd see my lifestyle, or see me in the go-go, see me in the club, or see me in the hood, see me, they just see me in passing. And I'm like, you know, they seeing the cars, they seeing, I'm like, I mean, I ain't rich, but I'm cool.
Right.
I can handle my responsibilities. I can take care of myself. I can have me a little fun.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I did it all of learning how to do a walk around and driving a commercial truck. But I gotta I can't carry the gun.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I gotta be temperament, because I can't. If I get locked up, then I can't use my CDL.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't. What Snow say? G a day keep the poverty away. I can't do that because I'm in a who sky.
Right.
I'm asking for money now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if I'm out here and I ain't doing that, and I'm mild-mannered, or I'm just chilling, or I'm just focused, and I'm just hopping in the truck, I'm just getting off, I'm just doing my thing, I'm just saving my money, you're going to be ahead.
Right.
You're going to be ahead.
Okay, so this ties into my next question. Being that you understand that, and you know, like, this has provided me a lifestyle for myself and able to help others, one simple mistake, whether it's you with somebody or anything. So does that change your circle, or does it change how you move with your friends?
Definitely. You can ask a lot of my friends. Definitely change how I move. But I love my friends. I love my neighborhood, because my neighborhood stand behind me on the positivity that I do. And they respect the decision when I say, nah, I can't be indulged in that, or nah, you can't move like that.
Right.
And they always say, nah, Ray, I already know, because it is they have seen me grow. So they respect that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And most definitely, one mistake can definitely mess you up. And what I just say to people who are mentors or who mess up and they make that mistake, just let it be a mistake and not be a cautious mistake. And what I mean by a cautious mistake, if you are selling drugs and carrying guns, that's a cautious mistake, because you know you have to hide those things. A mistake is something that you didn't know, being with somebody at the wrong time, and not knowing what they're into.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or being able not to a situation may occur and you not being able to, calm it down, whether it be your crowd.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I just go by a model that I'll never kill another black man if I don't have to.
Right.
Never.
Right.
Never. I don't
Right.
care what it is. He can
Right.
steal me. He can cuss me out. I ain't trying to like cuss out, because one thing I know in prison, when them people told you bend over to go on that visit and spread your ass, you didn't have that same to them.
Yep.
But when we get out here, we had that same,
Right.
we gonna kill each other, I'm gonna shoot you with it there, I'm gonna stab you up, but you done had that to the person,
Right.
the oppression, who got paid to do that. A brother not getting paid to oppress you.
Right.
He don't even know you. He may feel offended by you,
Right.
but that's the difference.
Right.
And that also changed. That just changed. Once I got that concept, I just changed my way of looking at another black man, because I understand his trauma. I understand how he may look at disrespect.
Okay.